What's going on, guys? This is Eric from RuleWasteland.com, RuleWastelandStore.com. Got a couple people in here, so I'm just going to kind of ramble about whatever for a few minutes until we get a few people in here. Then we can do some Q&A. We can do battlbox, and I can show you the best new T-shirt design out there. Picked up a police trade-in yesterday, only $400 for Glock 17, 3 mags. Exactly. There's some fantastic deals on police trade-in Glocks. I'm going to get one or two or three or seven for myself here in a little bit, if I can set aside the money. If you guys don't know, coming up in a mere few weeks is June 4th, which is Killdozer Day, which is the day that a guy unleashed his armored bulldozer on the local government, crushing a bunch of government buildings and stuff related to zoning and tax disputes. Didn't kill anyone except for himself, unfortunately, but he didn't hurt anyone, took out his rage in the government. So to commemorate his attack against the evil police state, I've made Killdozer t-shirts. I'm going to make a video about the Killdozer and all the circumstances surrounding it, why it's an interesting incident. But the shirts will be at RuleTheWastelandStore.com. We got Let Freedom Roll, we got Death Before Dishonor, and Get Mad and Get Even. So it's a pretty interesting story if you guys haven't ever heard about it. Why do you look like a young Val Kilmer? Because some people just have everything. I don't know what to tell you, except money. So I don't think I look like Val Kilmer, honestly, though. Maybe the wide mouth, that's about it. Otherwise, I don't really look like him at all. Lost Boy. You mean Kiefer Sutherland? Or are you talking about my fangs? I do have very prominent canines. Yeah, Ugg Caveman. Interesting. And thanks for showing up, guys. We got 9 people in here so far. Like I said, go check out the Killdozer. They're in the RuleTheWastelandStore.com. So we're going to be going over BattleBox. I'm excited about this one. Appreciate it, sir, woman, ma'am, whatever. Because it's small. So it means it's either it means some of the items are probably fairly expensive or high value because it's a denser box. So we're going to go over these. I'll try not to shake. I've got a new desk that I just got to replace this with. It shouldn't wiggle as much like that when I just barely touch it. Yeah, there's always some kind of knife in here, Evil Blonde. So let's see what we got. This one. I'm always excited about these. I love opening things up that I just don't know what's in it. It's something in my brain. I just really like it. Like when I used to buy and sell the storage units or I'd go to storage unit auctions, like Storage Wars style, for my auction business and for reselling online and whatnot. I just love digging through them and seeing what kind of crazy stuff was in there. There's never anything that crazy. That's a secret that nobody tells you, but it is really fun to, what is the theme of this box? That's what we're going to find out. I always like to try and guess by just looking at the items. So I put the little paper thing aside and I guess later what the theme is. So here we have Eat Your Coffee Caffeinated Snack Bar. So some kind of coffee snack bar. Fudgy Mocha Latte. Interestingly enough, I never really drank a lot of coffee, and just because I've been working for myself for a while, could wake up whenever. Now I have right now I have a normal kind of 9 to 5 type job, so I have been drinking coffee lately and come to really like it. But I'm weird and I hate chocolate. Not allergic to it. Not have any digestive issues. No, trying to avoid lactose or anything like that. I just hate it. I've always hated it. Can't stand the taste of it. Whether it's fudge, Oreos, milkshakes, M&Ms, nothing. I hate chocolate. So I'm not going to be eating this. But it might be good otherwise. A cup of coffee in every bar. So it's just a caffeinated bar. I wonder how many. 80 milligrams of caffeine. Yes, it's about a cup of coffee. Here we have some free packing material. Breakthrough military grade solvent. Appears to be some kind of CLP. Unless it's just a general solvent, not weapons related. Reconditioned firearms. Yeah. Battleborn breakthrough solvent. What's up, Eric? Nice thumbnail, by the way. Thank you, Palmetto Prepared. I try to make them a little goofy, catch people's attention. Oh, cool. I actually saw this somewhere, and I kind of wanted one of these because I am going to go camping again here pretty soon. And I got the Gerber Devour utensil, which I really like so far. But I like the this one as well, and I think it was just slightly more expensive. The K-Bar one that has a built-in knife. The Gerber Devour is just a spork, but it has a good pot rest, can open, like it'll sit so that it doesn't rest on the spoon portion. Like it has a little handle part so that actually when it's laying flat, it keeps the spoon part off the table or whatever you're setting it on. So that's pretty unique. This one's a fairly small end, as you can see. My thumb barely fits in there. And I'm not sure exactly how to take this apart. Oh, you just pull it, and it has a little knife. So I like that one as well. So I'll get to try these out on a camping trip coming up here pretty soon, actually. Less than a month. And then I will try to get some footage and actually be able to maybe recommend one of these over the other, tell you the pros and cons or things like that. This is plastic. The other one, the Gerber Devour that I have, is aluminum, and I think, or some kind of lightweight metal. And they have a titanium version as well, but I don't believe I got the titanium one. I have one of the K-Bar Killing spork. It's okay. Yeah. So we'll see. Spork knife. Interesting. It's not incredibly lightweight, but I wouldn't call it heavy. Oh, we got 2 of the coffee bars. They gave me 2 fudgy mochas. Not gonna be able to eat it. Just hate chocolate. I'm a weirdo. What can I say? Let's see what else we got in here. This one definitely seems to be more of like a camping themed. Wow, what is this? This looks like almost like a gun cleaning kit. Oh, it's got pieces in here to go with it, I think. Oh, this is just a tool, a driver with a bunch of different screwdriver bits on there. This is a mini screwdriver. Even got some Torx bits. All sorts of different shapes on there. Sunglasses, small pieces of equipment, and it looks like it's got some tweezers in there as well. And then we also have the Ready Man tweezer set of some kind. I'm not sure what these extendable poles are for. Let's see what this looks like. A tape measure, maybe? Or maybe it's a loop of some kind. Oh, it is. It's a jeweler's loop. Gunsmithing theme. Yeah, that certainly seems to be it so far. But it's more widespread than that, because we got the fudge bars, the camping spork. We got a couple tools. Sometimes if the themes are slightly less restrictive, you know, they have a little bit of everything. And because we also have, which this is awesome. I'm happy about this. A game camera, and it comes with the card as well, 16 gigabyte memory card. And this is a Terra 10 Extreme trail cam. These can be used for all sorts of situations. Obviously, for seeing what kind of game and stuff is on your property. It can be used for not really active security, because you can't really monitor them actively in the way that you can certain other types of internet connected cameras and stuff like that. But you can set it up if you have a cabin or a bug out spot or any caches, and see if something happened to it. You can tell what did happen, get a sense for what kind of activity there is in the area, and use it for passive security and record keeping type of situations, which is pretty cool. Definitely digging that. Whoa, I dropped it. What else we got? Oh, here, these fell out of the kit. I knew there was an empty pocket in here. So we have the jeweler's loop, and it also comes with the little folding scissors, or what are these? Yeah, little scissors. Little scissors. We got tweezers, and then the I'm not sure what the poles are for. What these handles are for. They might just be an extension for the drill, for the screwdriver. Not sure. And it comes with alcohol prep pads too, so I'm guessing this is meant to be used as more of like a med kit than for actual gunsmithing or jewelry related stuff, because it does have prep pads in there. So we'll see what they call it on our little card here. But in the meantime, we have a couple more things to go through. The Lord and Field Dungaree knife. What's up, William McCaskill? Good evening, Glenn Frères. Does look like it has 2 magnifiers. Yeah, Palmetto, you can use them to watch, keep an eye on your wildlife, or not wildlife, your livestock and things like that, the trail cam. Feels like a micarta handle. Pretty simple little knife here. Very smooth opening. Kind of classic design, looks like a liner lock. Just one blade. Very sharp. Pretty cool knife, nothing fancy. I like it. And it comes in this cool little tube, waxy paper. Classic style of that one, nothing too extreme. And then the last item is a Huron knife by Condor. Handcrafted in El Salvador by people who care. What they care about is up to you to figure out. I'm pretty sure El Salvador is where there's a lot of gangs that are known for hacking people with machetes, so they probably know how to make their knives. I heard you say you camp. You ever build your own lean-to? I'll build mine if I'm not sleeping under the stars out of a couple thick logs, some stakes, and a green tarp. I have been back when I was a kid. I built like a little wiki-ups and teepees and stuff. I've never done it for camping recently, specifically because we have been camping mostly in like national park type areas. We go in there, camp, so that you don't have to drive in every day, check everything out. So there hasn't really been backcountry camping. There are very designated spots where you're not really allowed to go chop down a lot of trees and things like that. Usually it's kind of frowned upon. So I haven't done a lot, and just time restrictions. It's just easier to throw up a tent that I already have, which I've been using a Eureka or Apex Solo, which I like a lot, but it is too small for me. So at some point fairly soon, I will upgrade to a bigger tent where I can at least like change in a little more easily and have more space for my gear. But for pure, like, I'll probably put that tent in my bug out bag because it's perfect for that type of situation. And it does have a tiny little vestibule to put your bag under. But if you're talking about camping in a national park, I can go and mostly carrying gear around with a car instead of on a backpack. Totally worthwhile to have a slightly bigger tent, a 2-person tent. And tents are usually, when they say 2-person, that's usually comfortable for 1 person. A true 1-person tent is very small. And that's all you really need just to sleep and stay away from the elements and the bugs and whatnot. But if you're really just doing casual camping, then I would recommend a 2- or 3-person tent. 2- to 4-person tent for 1 person, depending on how luxurious you want your experience to be. And only really use a 1-person tent if you're doing some backpacking or bug out type situations where you just have to carry everything in ounces really matter. I love 1095. You're referring to the steel. Oh yeah, it says 1095 steel is good. Hard steel, actually really like that profile. What up, Lord? Just got in the room. What's up, Silvertooth? This is a pretty cool looking knife. Really kind of antiquated, like spring steel type finish on there. And I kind of like the grind. It has the shape of like a big parang almost, but a little less aggressive of a shape in a much smaller. So a very cool looking knife made by Condor. It's called the Condor Huron 1095 steel. I like it, and it's got a really, I tend to like sheaths like this for their look and feel. For actually carrying a knife around, I tend to like a little more retention, or like active retention, some kind of clip or something like that, or a lot of friction, because I can just see that this could possibly fall out. I mean, that's really snug, but after a while, when the leather shapes and everything like that, there's not a whole hell of a lot holding it in there. But that is really cool looking. I think this would be a great knife to be like 3 times as big. More of a chopping tool, but as a cool, because it has that shape to it, like almost like a parang type shape. Or bolo knife. They have different names, but I like it. So in the battle box, we got the Condor Huron knife with this cool leather sheath. We got the little kit with a loop, some scissors, tweezers, and some extension rods for, I'm not sure exactly what yet. We got a, what commonly referred to as a sunglass or micro screwdriver kit. Try to bring recycled seeds when you buy from foods you buy. Spend a few minutes planting a few seed types that work well together. We got the K-bar spork with knife, which I will definitely take with me camping and see how that works. We got some break-free solvent for firearms and other purposes. We got a couple of these caffeinated bars, which I will not eat because I explained to everyone that I just hate chocolate. I'm weird. I hate chocolate. I can't stand it. And the big item is this trail cam and the memory card. I like it. Pretty cool. You can hide this out somewhere in your property. I don't have property out here, but let's see what the mission is. Wait, there's no really that coherent of a theme. We got some hunting related stuff, camping related stuff, gunsmithing related stuff. I think it's just going to be a general woodsman type theme. See what they say. Mission 51. Where's our mission? It just says Mission 51. So I guess it's just a generic theme, outdoor stuff. Only a commie hates chocolate. What can I say? I was born this way, as the song says. And I'm definitely not a communist. It's more chocolate for you guys, right? What's to be mad about? They stopped doing themes a few months ago. Oh, shows you how much I know. Probably is a lot more difficult to try and stick to a coherent theme and get all the different gears. I kind of prefer a random assortment like this, honestly. It makes it more exciting opening it up. You never know what you're going to get. Let me see what this kit is called. It is a foreign object removal tools. So yeah, it's meant to be more of like a removing splinters, removing hooks from your hand, cactus spines. That's why you have the magnification of the little jeweler's loop and the alcohol prep pads. I don't know what these are for. These the rods. Oh, it opens. Maybe there's a, okay. This is like a pore clearing tool, or like it's used to push and drag along the skin, and you can use it to get out bee stingers, sometimes really thin, fine cactus spines, or you can even use it just to clear clogged pores and things like that. And then we have there's a lance on that end. You can use it for like picking at your skin or lancing boils or doing whatever you need to there. Open people up, get your bot flies out of your skin, whatever you need to do. So that's those two pieces. And then on this rod, we have a more blunt probe. And 45K subs, less than 30 viewers. You are a fake channel. This guy's always talking trash on my videos, and he's gonna get blocked soon. And then this one has a really soft loop for if you need to just sweep. Do you have stitch in for dermal and subdermal wounds? Do you have stitch? I think you just mean, do I have stitches? I don't really have. I have a couple suturing, small suturing kits or packs, I believe, in my trauma kit, but I need to practice more with the actual method. I've actually gone on a mountain biking trip when I was a teenager with a doctor who, one of the things he did on the trip, he organized it for the youth group at the church at the time, was he brought some suturing tools, and we went to the store and bought pig's feet, and he let us practice on the pig's feet, which is pretty cool. That was fun. And it was definitely the main thing that you need to remember about when you're doing suturing is it is not like sewing other things like cloth or leather or whatever. Is you do individual stitches and tie off each one, and not just like loop through like you would if you were tying two pieces of cloth together. And then that you also don't want to go, you want to go deep enough that you're going through the actual skin, but not into the muscle. That's probably the hardest part to get right, is you know, once you know the knots and everything like that, just getting the right depth level and the right number of sutures and things like that is going to be the hard part. But at least knowing that allows you to at least not totally fuck it up. Shangli Warlord says you walk around with the finger on the trigger. He's full of shit, as I pointed out when he commented on that video already. He's blocked. I don't have time for dealing with liars. How do I delete people? I deleted his comment. Oh, put your hide user on this channel. Is that how you do it? Oh, well. Yeah, he's blocked. Only he will see his messages. I don't have any type of, as you guys have known from even from my ugly, or not ugly, my mean comments video, I don't care about criticism. I don't even generally care about people saying dumb troll comments like I have an ugly face or whatever. But when you get to the point where you're either interfering with the actual process of me doing the channel, like a live stream or something, or straight up just lying about me, nah, you're out of here. So not gonna lose any sleep over it. Can't hang out, but I'll rewatch later. Appreciate it, Tyler. See, the problem is trolling is a full-time job, but it won't work. Based on that guy's channel, I actually looked over at it. He needs a full-time job. And has probably never had one. So, but yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm here for, I got time, man. I'm gonna probably watch Game of Thrones when it comes on just because, but honestly, it's been trash and I just want it to be over with. I always liked it, but was never huge crazy about it. And this season has been garbage. Laziness kills the mind and body. That is absolutely true. I don't understand people who, and I'm saying that as or agreeing with that as a very lazy person. And I always am trying to find, you know, simple ways of doing things, but I also just enjoy doing things. I'm not necessarily physically lazy. I'm just reluctant to spend any effort on things that I don't care about. So, yeah, and also, if you know, I mean, like, don't worry about it, Julie. I appreciate it, but everyone knows it's not a fake channel. I've been on here for 10 years, 500 plus videos, interacting with people. I don't even know what a fake channel would mean. Would you ever use super glue instead of stitching? Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Probably a hell of a lot easier. It just depends on the severity of the wound, where it is on your body, things like that. But they do that a lot now. And yeah, they use super glue and different types of heat. And you can just use regular off-the-shelf super glue too in an emergency. Sounds like you're picky about what you like doing. That's not laziness. Yeah, no, I agree. But I am lazy too, you know. I will fun, but I'm not like, that's by my standards anyway too, not by probably the normal American standards. Just the fact that I actually work out and I'm not late to my job and things like that means I'm really not lazy. Do you still use Kratom? I do. Not quite as often. I've actually found some good results helping with my restless leg syndrome and things like that using NAC. It's called like N-A-C, and that helps, but I'll still use the Kratom a couple times a week or whatever, and it still helps a lot. Just at night, though. I'll just take a few of them when I go to sleep because I just tend to sleep more through the night. I won't wake up as often, won't be as twitchy, things like that. Usually the smart ones are lazy, try to find the easiest, most efficient way to do everything. That's true. That's part of it, is trying to beat the system. Like, why am I doing this, quote unquote, the hard way? Like, I can figure out a better way to do this. It doesn't use resources that I don't want to do. But just in general, like, there's different types of people out there, and there's some type of people, I don't even want to call them workaholics because they're not always workaholics, but they're the type of person who, no matter what their job is, they will just do everything it takes to do that job. They have no problem putting in a 10-hour day, coming back and still working on it, and that's just what their body does. And for me, I have to have like a purpose. I have to have a passion about it to really be able to. I'm not a grinder. Let's just put it that way. I can put an insane amount of effort into something in short bursts, ignoring everything else. But like my basic level of emotional energy is not just work. If it's not something I truly enjoy doing. I just don't see the purpose to that. And so like these people, I never understand people who have hundreds of millions of dollars or even several $1 million and still work 40 to 100 hours a week. That makes no sense to me. But that's why they have the money and I don't. Like I wouldn't be able to just go to work if I had millions of dollars. There's just so many things out there that I just love doing, enjoy doing. I would just sit at home and watch TV, but I'd be traveling. There's at least 100 things I could come up with that I could imagine myself doing for an hour a day, and there's just no way you can even do all that. So it's just working and working when you still have the ability to do all the things that you enjoy doing Doesn't make sense to me. But paradoxically, that's why I don't have millions of dollars, is because I don't have that ability to just work and do it. You know, it's different. It allows me to be happy with a lot less than most people, but it also makes it harder for me to get, you know, stuff, material possessions, money, things like that. So, you know, it's a trade-off. Staff tend to get lazy after a while. Aloha, bra. What's up, Alan Carter? I used to drive my staff sergeants crazy, always finding a better way. Yep. You will die. I don't know who that's in reference to, but that's true. We will all die. Brian says, keep being awesome, pal. Ignore the critics. They don't count. I agree, man. And don't, none of you guys need to worry about me when it comes to online critics. The literal worst that's ever going to happen to me is I'll get annoyed. I am not someone who takes any of that shit to heart. I know some people get really bent out of shape about comments they get online. I've seen some people totally unrelated to prepping, you know, other channels. It really seems to bother them. The fact that someone out there saying mean things about them, doesn't like them. If anything, that's where my laziness helps me. Is I just don't have, it's just too much work for me to care about. And I'm not saying that as a boast. I just literally, after a few minutes of something annoying me, like I'm just like, whatever, I'm over it. You know, it's just too much effort. I don't have the effort to put into that. I'm just like, move on. Shangli Warlord did 10 years in the U.S. Army, 92 Delta, 2 combat tours. I don't care. This guy's a fake propaganda pusher to Sakana and selling Amazon crap. I don't know who you are, but if you're lying, if you lie anymore, you're going to get banned too. Name one piece of propaganda that I've pushed. Of all the prepping channels out there, there's probably very few that are less inclined to talk about. I'm constantly saying, like, the world's not going to end. One of my last videos, how there's not almost certainly going to be a worldwide Shit the Fan event, so whatever. Everyone knows you're the ones who are full of shit. Exactly. I have no problem. Oh, in fact, my next video, which I'm going to do hopefully tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow, is going to be, I'm not going to drag someone, but it's going to be related to a stupid comment that someone made. That I don't think it was malicious. I just think they're wrong about what it means to be a prepper and whatnot. So that's coming up too. So I'm slamming people more and more often. He spends more time on his hair than his preps. That may be true, because I have made it very clear to people that prepping is not something that I think about day in, day out, 24/7. You don't have to. My goal is to be self-sufficient for 6 months to a year. I'm not 100% there yet, so I work on getting there. I spend some time and some money into it, but that's not my life. And I honestly don't spend that much time on my hair, but not even an hour a day. I mean, I'm not even 15 minutes a day. I kind of wake up and it looks like this. I've trained it. I'm too lazy to spend a lot. I had a haircut style that I did for a while in between when it was really long and this, where I had it like slicked back and shaved on the sides. That was way too much work. So I quit doing it because I was like, I don't like spending time on my hair. This is a little bit done and stays that way for a long time. I've trained it. Yeah, it's been funny seeing changes in hair over the years. It used to be long. Yeah, exactly. Well, first of all, it was buzzed when I first started. I was still in the Army. I was cutting it myself with the trimmers and just literally one guard on there. Bzzz, that was it. And then when I got out of the Army, I let it grow out because I was like, fuck it, grow it out. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people hated it. Obviously, that took a lot more care and work to not have it look like a mess. So then I cut it and was doing the slick back thing, almost like an undercut. That was too much work, and it didn't stay very well. Anytime wind or sports or anything would flop around. This, I like it. I think it looks better than the last one, and it stays in place. I wish I had some hair to train. Exactly, man. I'm happy. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I've gone past the point where if I was going to start losing my hair, it would have started already. Like I've said, I'm actually older than a lot of people think. I'm 35. So if I was going to start getting the male pattern baldness, I think it would start kicking in by now. So hopefully all I got to worry about is just general age-related thinning and no specific receding hairline or bald patch or anything like that. It's pretty thick, pretty luscious, and I'm already getting close to 40 years old. So I don't even have any gray as far as I know, but my hair is very light, so I probably wouldn't notice it anyway. Sometimes the algorithms put some of your older videos in my browse. I feel like I can tell older videos by how your hair looks. Yeah, there's definitely like eras of hair. How do you like that sun oven behind you? I love the sun oven, and I'm going to start making a lot more videos with it soon. Now that we're getting into summer and the sunlight is going to last past when I get out of work, I can actually have time to do it. And My MOS better be under 20. Ooh, or what? Or what are you gonna do about it, bitch? Beat your face, you fucking private. And yeah, now that I'll have Sun when I get out of work, I'll do some more videos on it. I love it. It's a big clunky thing that works. It's not pretty, it just works, and it's super tough. I look like Tyler from Tundra Tactical. I don't know who that is, but that's pretty cool. I'd be thrilled if I lost all my hair as 0 maintenance. I mean, you could always just shave it off. That's pretty low maintenance. If cutting it myself with the buzzer was very, very low maintenance. Only had to do it, literally 5 minutes every 2 weeks or something. Still making rice in that thing. I haven't been just on because of time and, like I said, the sunlight for the past few months. It would have to be before or after I got off work, which didn't leave a lot of time. But the rice came out perfectly in that. I'm definitely going to be doing some more of that. My MOS was above 500. Yeah, exactly. Have you tried the tube-like solar oven? I have not. Patriot Nurse has a video on that one. In my mind, there is way too much effort and cleaning involved and not enough space. Because you're actually using the oven itself as the receptacle, it'd be harder. There's not nearly as much versatility, not as much space. I didn't want to fuck with it. Didn't seem like I would enjoy using that one. Look up Tundra Tactical. You like their channel. I'll try to check it out. See, this guy's obviously an idiot. He says, combat arms MOSs are all under 20. Okay. Over 20 is non-combat arms. Cooks, officers, mechanics, fake soldiers. Yeah, right. Well, let's have a, what's it called? A combatives opportunity session. Because everyone, all these fucking 11 Bravos are a bunch of dorks who are just too not smart enough to do anything else. And I always kick their ass at combatives. It's being a national natty guard transportation officer. Choke their shit out. Yeah, my MOS is over 9,000. I believe that all preppers should stand up for each other and encourage everyone in their prepping. I believe that everyone should encourage everyone in their prepping, yeah. And I like the idea of making prepping less, insane seeming, not talking about the end of the world stuff. That's why I mentioned things like the dash cam and insurance stuff, why I mentioned losing jobs, or I mentioned, localized weather stuff, because that's what's likely to happen. Like if you look at all that stuff and you put it in a big basket, something like that's going to happen to you at some point during your life. Probably not something major. My MOS is a combat arms MOS. Figure that one out. Yeah, right. I don't have all the MOSs memorized. It's funny when people are like, oh, it's a 67 Zulu. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what that is. Why would I care? You're a mechanic of some kind. I don't know. Fucking sewed parachutes. Who the hell knows? I could barely remember what mine was. I went down there once a month. Went to Kuwait for a year. I can't be bothered to memorize everyone's fucking MOS. Prepping can be fun. It can be fun. But another thing that preppers need to keep in mind is that not everyone thinks it's fun. So approaching it from the idea that everyone's going to be able to treat it like a hobby isn't going to work either, because you can do it in a way that isn't a pain in the ass, even if you don't really enjoy it. But not everyone is just going to enjoy it. MOS is a method of service, I think. I don't remember what the X stands for. It's just your job in the Army. So, like, if you're infantry, you're like, they have their own number. If you're a truck driver, it's 88 Mike or whatever. So it's just your job in the Army, your actual, I forget what it stands for. Military occupational specialty. Yeah. See, I don't remember any of this stuff. What do you think is about proposed assault weapons ban, if you don't mind me asking? No, I don't mind at all. I think it's obviously unconstitutional. And luckily, so far, we've seen gun control issues do fairly well at the higher courts, Supreme Court, things like that. Like I think it was Heller that struck down the ban in D.C. against private firearm ownership and things like that. States are always trying to do their shitty things, but when they've taken up to the higher level courts, they've always done pretty well, because there is really no way around how obvious it is what the founders intended. The previous, case law at the higher courts about gun rights. The problem is dealing with all the bullshit up to that point. So I don't think there will be an assault weapons ban. Sure hope not. Steel Trap can remember new stuff, though. Or can't remember new stuff. My mind is completely uncontrollable in what I remember and what I don't. Some things people will be like insanely impressed. Like they're like, how the hell did you remember that? And I'm like, I wish I knew, because when I try to remember shit, it doesn't always work so well. And I think a lot of it has to do with if I just find it interesting or not. You know, if I'll hear some insanely random esoteric fact or bit of information and I'll be like, wow, that's really cool. We'll remember it forever. Something like job related that's actually important on a day-to-day basis, I'll be able to remember it while I'm using that knowledge continuously. But if my brain doesn't care about it, once I don't need it anymore, it's gone completely. Terrible stuff. What's up, Mike? Hello, fellow humans. How is everyone this fine evening? I am good, man. I am better than I deserve, as Dave Ramsey says, but not as well as I hope or want to be. My mind is a steel trap, just a bit rusty. Yep. AR-5 sandbags, AR-500 steel. What's that in reference to? AR-500, people don't actually realize, is a type of steel, but it's also a brand name. A company made or named themselves AR-500. So a lot of times you'll see AR-500 plates, and they're not. You know, there's other AR-500 is literally just the steel, and not necessarily the brand, and vice versa. So it's something to keep in mind. If you're in place you won't be leaving, heavy sheet metal, that can work too. Speaking of the Killdozer, where he put Killdozer Days coming up. For those guys who didn't see the beginning of this video, check out the RuledWastelandStore.com. He welded on inch-thick steel plate with 2 layers of concrete in between to wage his war against the police state. Didn't want to pay his taxes. 2 of their level 4 plates. I didn't know AR-500 made level 4 plates. Are they steel? Because I know that Safe Life Defense has level 4 in conjunction with plates that are way, way lighter than steel. And they stop up to 30-06 steel core multiple strikes, as long as you're using it in conjunction with a soft armor. People don't understand that criminals are not going to follow gun laws, and it's only going to hurt law-abiding citizens. I mean, at some level, I think these people really do understand that. They do think that there would be less of them. And honestly, what a lot of gun people don't want to admit is that if you make guns completely illegal, there will be less gun crime. There just won't be less crime, period. There won't be less murders, less robberies. They just won't even need to use guns. So there's no point in trying to argue that necessarily. There is less gun crime in England and things like that. They're just getting stabbed instead. So unless you think it's okay, like, I just don't want people to die from guns. I don't care if they die, if they're stabbed in the face. As long as it's not a gun, I'm happy, which is completely idiotic. But, yeah, sure, you can make it very expensive or difficult to get guns, and the bad guys will use them less. They have no fear that you have a gun, so they can just use a bat and 3 of their buddies and beat you to death instead. So it's just as many people, if not more, are usually dying and being murdered in areas where there's less guns. But there is usually less gun crime. It just doesn't matter, because if you're looking at it logically, you shouldn't care why, or you shouldn't care how someone is being murdered. It's the total number of murders that's important. Anyone that says they forget their MOS is, all right, this guy's blocked. I don't have time for liars. By the way, my ad was 88 Alpha, I think. I don't even remember what the designator was, because it's the officer version of an 88 Mike. It's a transportation officer. And I don't remember. Agreed on that. If they can't get guns, they'll build bombs and kill even more. Yeah, they'll use trucks, which has happened. It's not hard, and that's just for the terroristic stuff. For the low-level crime, they'll just get a couple of their big buddies and some kitchen knives or something. I mean, there's just no end to it. There's literally a picture that one of the police departments somewhere in the UK posted of like a bust of all these kitchen knives. Kitchen knives. I mean, literally, they weren't knives like I've got in here, like actual knives. Like even just an outdoor knife like this, or let alone a tactile knife. These were literal kitchen knives. And I shit you not, they had a spoon included in this picture. A fucking spoon. That's how much of a joke that these idiots are. Violent crime in the U.S. is down overall and dropping steadily, but news coverage is going up. That is the real problem. Yeah, and it's it also depends on which types of crimes are going up, where they're all happening, things like that. I mean, if you remove the maybe top 5 major city centers with the worst crime, the U.S.'s crime levels are like the same as like Scandinavia, or only slightly worse. It's literally certain areas and very specific demographics that nobody wants to talk about when it comes to crime. Salt spoon. Oh yeah. Bam! Ah! Did you know there exist 12-gauge shot shells that explode after it penetrates material? I mean, they have all sorts of crazy specialty ammo for a 12-gauge. But something like the 12-gauge or the Safe Life Defense 3A armor actually protects against 12-gauge armor piercing, so it might blow up when it hits it, but it's not going to get through it. Did you see the video of the muzzles attacking Tommy Robinson yesterday? I heard of it. Muzzies. Oh, Muzzies, yeah. No, I heard about it. I didn't actually watch the video. London is having one acid. Yeah, stuff like acid attacks. Like, well, there is no less people are killed with guns. Yeah, you just get your face melted off by some imported diversity. Gun rights should be centered as a human right for self-defense. They are a human. Well, self-defense is a human right. Guns specifically is, you know, whatever. It depends on how you describe it. Natural right. Guns don't exist naturally, so assault shoes are real. Someone threw on a George Bush, but a semi-auto. Yeah, he only got one off because it was a it wasn't fully semi-automatic, and he actually was he did some good juking there, and he dodged that pretty well. Wonder who's doing the acid attacks. I guess we'll never know. I mean, it seems like if there was only some way we could tell, and we didn't have to watch all the, you know, 75-year-old Swedish grandmothers to see if maybe they would do it, or like the 4-year-old Sikhs or whatever to see if maybe they would do it. No, there's just no way we could possibly narrow it down. I don't know what to tell you. We've had one confirmed kill with a brown MRE spoon. No joke. I did read about that. Of course, anytime or when that happened, everyone heard about the confirmed kill with the MRE spoon. I still don't know 100% if that was real or if that was just bullshit, but people seem to think it was real, and I didn't really look into it enough to tell for sure. Appreciate response. See you. Oh, okay. John Wick killed 3 men with a pencil. Speaking of which, the newest one just came out. I'm going to check that out probably Tuesday. Here in Vegas, there's a ton of movie theaters all at the casinos, and there's a couple of them that if you go on either Sunday or Tuesday, it's like $6 and $5 respectively. And they still have the big reclining chairs and everything else. Pretty awesome. But the sharpened pencils need to be banned. Yeah, like, I mean, like when on an airplane, when they don't let you take, they wouldn't let you take a blade that was an actual blade that was 3/4 of an inch long, but they will let you take, you know, pencils. And I would literally rather be stabbed with a 3/4 inch blade than with a number 2 pencil. I think you need like 3.5 inches to get to your heart. Obviously, being slashed is brutal. Can't wait for John Wick 3. It's out, my friend. You just got to go watch it. I haven't seen it yet. Towards the end, it was going to be too much. You think so? Okay. Yeah, no spoilers, people. I'll ban the fuck out of you. Ban more spoons, too. They make me fat. Yeah. It's a constitutional right to keep and bear arms. It is indeed. It is indeed. Yeah, for sure. So remember, guys, Killdozer Day is June 4th. That's all I was going to say. Yeah, good man, Glenn. So yeah, if you guys haven't noticed anything else, Venezuela getting crazy, but honestly, seems like Maduro is going to hold on to power there, but they've had spotty infrastructural support, and that's what's very interesting. I've talked about this a lot. It's a perfect example. There's some crazy shit going down there, but it's still not what a lot of us would consider a real shit hit the fan event in the sense of like, it's not totally WROL. There's competing factions, but there's still troops, there's still police. Even with like widespread power outages, life still has to go on, you know? So you're getting the worst of both worlds. You're getting all that civil unrest. You're getting the lack of infrastructural support with electricity and probably less emergency services and water, probably having to boil your water and stuff. But you still can't just walk around with an assault rifle and disregard any laws either. So you're getting the worst of both worlds, and that's what we need to be ready for. It's a natural right to be able to defend yourself. The right to keep and bear arms is based on that right. That is why it's called a natural right. Yes, I know, I agree. But I'm just saying guns in and of themselves are not obviously just naturally occurring. But it doesn't matter what you use to defend yourself, in my opinion. You should be able to use whatever you want. That would be 100% be a shit the fan in my book. I hear it. You know, I agree. I call it a shit the fan event. That's serious. But it's not like when people talk about when shit hits the fan, like this totally, you know, one-way ticket to fucking apocalypse where it's just never, the whole society never recovers. It's not a collapse of society. It's just a breakdown of the current social order. But, you know, people are still conducting business, still going to work, Still probably paying taxes, sometimes getting electricity, sometimes not, things like that. You don't know, I could totally be growing a 9mm Glock tree in my backyard. Let me know if that works out. I would love to get some seeds. Also, don't push a man to build a war machine. You want crazy, force a man to act like a man. Killdozer, best to learn from it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look at how it really happens. This is a good opportunity for us to say, what does this look like in a modern, not first world Western country, but a modern country. This isn't like fucking the Congo or something where there's just like people getting hacked to pieces with machetes constantly and no real government. This is a real country with a totally modern technology and infrastructure, things like that. And so we get to see what it really looks like when that starts to collapse, but doesn't completely go under. Hello, all from South Florida. What's up, South Florida as well? Here in Canada, our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is supposed to be passing a bill to outlaw guns. No surprise there. There's not the same just will and desire to keep guns around in Canada as there is here, and they don't have obviously the Second Amendment protection enshrined into the highest law of the land like we do. Venezuela is a perfect example of what happens if you take away the people's power to fight back. Mainly firearms, they're helpless and getting run over. Exactly, literally getting run over. Add vodka, the tree, you can get AK type fruit. I've seen people open carry in Walmart. We've had open carry since 2017. In which area are you talking about? We have open carry here in Nevada, which is cool. Canada wants to pull New Zealand, probably. Missouri. Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of states people don't realize actually do have open carry, and because they just don't see it very often. No one does it. I've been there's been quite a few people that have done it here. Not a lot, but you'll see them. I don't think we also have shall issue concealed carry, and I think in most situations that's smarter. But to do on a day-to-day basis, just because you don't want someone to know you're carrying and be able to run up and grab your gun or something. Or if someone breaks in, is going to rob the gas station that you're in, and they see that you have a gun, you're kind of at a disadvantage. You lose that element of surprise. But I definitely 100% agree that it should be legal, and there's definitely times that it makes sense to be able to open carry. The annoying thing about the concealed carry permits here is that they do not cover anything other than firearm, and they don't cover all firearms either. Like, I don't think it covers long guns. Constitutional carry is the best. New Hampshire went to all concealed carry 2 years ago. To all can conceal carry 2 years ago. Yeah, New Hampshire, the live free or die. It's a bunch of libertarians that have gone up there. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool idea to try and pack the state with liberty-minded individuals. I'd rather not have people know I'm carrying a gun, but in California it's virtually impossible to get a CCW permit. Exactly. So you gotta do what you can do. Feminists make me sick. True. Is that related to anything in particular? Feminism is definitely an anti-reason, anti-science ideology of hate. But I don't have too strong feelings on the subject. So too much snow. Where are you at? Missouri? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, Canada. Too damn cold. Oh, New Hampshire. Yeah. And property taxes blow. I mean, anywhere on the upper East Coast, property taxes are going to be a beast raping. Florida wasn't great either, but not too bad, honestly, comparatively speaking. Stuff like California and Illinois, I think, or Indiana, one of those has some just outrageously high property taxes. Do you make it known outside your house and car that you have guns, or keep it a secret for the surprise? I do not make it known anywhere where no, I don't make it known, period. And I don't think that's a good idea because you're not always going to be home. And if someone was going to choose to break in anyway, you definitely don't want them to do it with the knowledge that they're going to have to take you out, or maybe they'll come at you with a lot more force or a lot more people simply because they know you're armed now. I like to try and just make it seem, add some kind of deterrence to make it physically more difficult, whether that's your storm door security doors, dogs, security cameras, but don't let them know that you're physically going to be, attacking them, because that I want to keep them off guard. See, Nevada's going liberal. Yeah, I mean, it depends. It's one of those states where, technically it's kind of purplish, but it's not because everyone is just a little bit center. There's a lot of super far right people and a lot of super far left people, kind of like what's happening in Texas. Texas is becoming more and more purplish, But it's not because the people that are there are becoming less conservative. They're just importing a lot of extremely liberal people. So you're getting like kind of a dual population of like really conservative, really liberal people, and not just a bunch of barely liberal people, which is, I don't know, it's better and it's worse. It's good because there's still a lot of people there that care about gun laws, or gun rights, I mean, and are willing to fight for them and things like that. But it also makes it much more likely that there's different kinds of conflict and things like that because of that vast difference in ideology, political ideologies. I whisper I love guns to everyone when I pass walking. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, a lot of the, Glenn, a lot of the blueness is from California people flooding in, and a lot of just illegal immigration and just the demographics in general. Most states it's legal to open carry except DC. Yeah, in some capacities. I'm the most dangerous person on my block. I feel safe because I don't let people know what I have. Be nice to everyone, but have a plan to kill. Exactly. Be nice to everyone, or have a plan to kill everyone you meet. Be nice, be polite. I've never seen people open carry in public. People tend to mistake you for somebody else, like the Walmart incident. I don't know. It's gone. I've been very pleased here with how, I mean, this kind of Vegas is like that. It's hard to get people flustered because there's so many fucking weirdos. But even after the shooting and everything, if you're just walking around, I've seen plenty of people with, you know, walking into a gas station with a gun on their hip and just a regular holster, normal civilian attire. No one gives a shit. Just the way it should be. I don't agree with never open carry, but I agree that it has its downsides, and I don't think you should make a habit of just open carrying always as you go about your day-to-day business. But it needs to be an option, legally speaking, period. And there are times when it makes sense. When I started to sing Like a New Glock, touched for the very first time at the gun show yesterday, they busted up. Nice. Not the animal, the bear independent type. What is that in reference to? Pet bear. See there, I'm not following the thread there. I was mentioning that feminists hate white men as they want to blame white men for all the world's problems. I'm sick of that. I'm a black and LGBT, and I think white guys are awesome. I'm not a victim. I think I'm awesome too. I appreciate it. Glad you're not a victim. A victim mentality is a sad, sad way to go through life. And you see it with a lot of people in, like, I mean, I'm technically a millennial, but I'm a little old for the generation. It's particularly a lot of younger millennials kind of almost try to, it's almost become like a game of one-upsmanship of how pathetic they can be. Oh, I've got this mental illness, I've got this problem, this trauma, this PTSD, and it's almost like it's a competition to show how fucked up and pathetic you can be. And that's no way to go through life. Take down the obvious threat to your actions. Yeah, it does make you a target. That's what I was talking about. It obviously lets them know that they need to deal with you, and lets them know that they're going to be fighting you or attacking you before you know. Like I said, in an example of maybe someone trying to rob a gas station, if they go in there, you're not going to know that they're about to do it, but they're going to know that they need to shoot you first or point their gun at you first because you're sitting there with a gun on your hip. Yeah, I realize Bear Independent is another YouTube channel. I just didn't know what you were referencing his channel specifically. But yeah, 42 people. I appreciate it, man. 42 people watching. That's kind of decent. I've been going for almost an hour. It's pretty good. I'm a homicidal blonde taking a vacation in Destiny. Right on, right on. Like, yeah, guys, hit the like button if you don't mind. Helps me out. Helps the algorithm. And for those of you guys who came in a little late, we got to go through the battle box. Got a cool K-bar spork. And one of my favorite knives is a K-bar Becker BK2. Don't remember model numbers real well. But yeah, we got the little spork thing, which I actually am going camping soon, and we'll use this, and I will compare it to the Gerber Devour, I think, which I got also for this camping trip. And we'll see how they work. Got some caffeinated Choco bars, which I will not eat because I'm weird and I hate chocolate. We got a skin care type foreign object removal kit. Probably put this in my trauma bag that's in my car right now. Got a little jeweler's loop and different extraction tools, scissors, tweezers, and some extrusion type devices. I forget what they call them, for like clearing pores, getting out bee stings, lancing boils, digging out bot flies and parasitic organisms, things like that. I'm a loyal fan and follower. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I've seen you commenting for a long time. I've always here, man. If you need anything, God bless you always. Appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it. I made mini rum cakes doubles as a fire-starting tinder. Sorry for my insolence. I'm not sure what you were that was insolent, but I offer reasonable compromise, and I will give you safe passage through the wasteland. 15 likes and 4 down. Go like the video. 41 watching. I appreciate it. Yeah, rum cakes are good, and that's funny if they do really light up. I know that most 80 or pretty much any 80 proof alcohol burns fairly well, so depending on how much is in there. Still waiting for the Sport Book of Etiquette. I am not one for etiquette. I always tend to break decorum in pretty much every possible way without even knowing it. So you're going to have to keep searching for that, unfortunately. I have to tell you this. Friday, I saw a husband and wife at a gas station here in Henderson with open carry with CWP badges on their holsters and thought they were cops, but they weren't. Silly. Huh. CW, concealed weapons permit badges? So they just wore their permit like on the holster? That's kind of bizarre. I don't buy that open carry is bad. I don't think it's bad. Every cop does open carry just fine. Well, that's kind of a different situation. Walk in a store with 5 guys open carry, you think twice about starting trouble. For sure. If you have 5 guys with you, I don't go everywhere with a group of 5 armed guys. Just doesn't happen. And cops, they're also wearing bulletproof vests the entire time, which you can do if you want. They also have a radio where they can instantly call for pretty significant backup. And just the fact that people knowing all that and knowing that they're going to come after them like crazy if they do anything to a cop makes a lot less incentive to do anything to them than just your average person who's even armed. But there's certainly nothing bad with open carrying. And like I said, it has its situations. Yeah, we don't need no stinking fake badges. CWP badges, interesting. Yeah, I mean that's kind of goofy if you ask me. It seems like they're trying to show off or something maybe, or they just don't understand how that looks. Just imagine how polite society would be if everyone was carrying. Yeah, if everyone was carrying, if you were still allowed to do duels, things like that, people would think twice before running their mouth. That's for sure. Yeah, the badge is a bad look. Don't be that guy. It just makes you look like some tacticulio dork. You know what I mean? I wouldn't recommend doing all that stuff. But there are some situations where it's just more logistically feasible to open carry than to conceal carry, and that's fine. But like I said, I wouldn't just make it a habit because I do think it puts you at a disadvantage. You and the other 2 guys doing the trio posts on topics, so those are pretty interesting to see their reviews from there. Yeah, they've had some scheduling issues, I think. So I think we're going to probably take a break from doing this for a while. Nothing specific, but I know JJ in particular said he's really busy during the summer. So it might be a while before we do another trifecta video. Hopefully not. I really had fun doing them. But we don't have any specific schedule doing it, so we'll just do them whenever we get a chance. Yeah, I appreciate the story. That's interesting. Female body inspector badge is okay. You do you, man. You do you. Just thought 8+. Why stop at the badge? Why not get a dunce cap and complete the uniform? Yeah, right. I haven't seen that T-shirt since the 80s. They reference it in the Other Guys movie where it gets him a mug. It says female body inspector. Yeah, I will say that too, Silvertooth. In an area where open carry is more normal, it's less of a disadvantage to you. Simply because if you're one of 5 people in the gas station who is open carrying a gun, it's you're obviously not painting as big of a target on your back than if you're one person open carrying and there's a bunch of like shady characters around. Makes context is important, where you are is important, and some place like that probably a lot more reasonable to open carry. Yeah, The Other Guys is amazing. I love that movie. I love when he takes the wooden gun. He gives him the wooden gun and he steals it. Or the Ray Stevenson steals it and they give it back with like a polish on it. It's like, looks like some put a linseed oil or something. You might want to think about dropping them a thank you note. Pretty good stuff. You don't use it, you lose it. How do you gather water in your area? I store water is my main plan. I have water barrels. Collecting it, you just have to collect rain. And there are also some pretty significant drainage culverts because unlike in Florida where every street had a storm drain about every 20 feet that would go right into like the sewer or whatever, here they're very rare, and instead they tend to have all the water collect and run to one side of the neighborhood where there will be like an actual like LA River type aqueduct of concrete that's fairly big, and all the rain and water will rush there and then go to a more centralized, almost like a quarry and reservoirs in the middle of the city. And most of the time there's no water in them. But in the event of a major shit hit the fan event, like beyond what's happening in Venezuela, like a societal shutdown type situation, what I would do is go to the one nearest me and block up the exit where it actually flows out of the neighborhood in that culvert, so that there was, build a little wall of sandbags or dirt or whatever, so that the water would collect there and actually build up instead of flowing into the next stage of the aqueduct. And so all the rain would just naturally collect there. So, and there are casino fountains, there are pools, there are neighborhoods that have, artificial ponds, but there's not a lot. They would be attracting people very significantly. But I think that would be a great way to, over in Florida, man. I grew up in Cocoa. The pools would be a great way if it's at your house to very inconspicuously store like 20,000 gallons of water. So if you have the money and you're out here in the desert, California, New Mexico, Arizona, a pool is a great thing to have, because I have a few barrels of water. Obviously, it looks a little bizarre to people who don't know what they are, and that's a couple hundred gallons of water. A pool doesn't look weird to anybody, and it's tens of thousands of gallons. So just get a cover to put over it if there's an event to limit evaporation, and you would be good for a long, long time. Girls carrying guns is always an attention getter, for sure. 2 weapons. Is there an advantage to carrying 2 weapons? Depends on what the weapons are. There's always an advantage to having more weapons until you get to the point where maybe they're like literally weighing you down, like a backup gun or a knife and a gun. It just depends on, everything's about opportunity cost. You know what I mean? There's advantages, and then you're giving up something too. You're giving up comfort, maybe. You're giving up, being able to move more with weight. You're giving, things like that. So it just depends on what you're carrying, where on your body you're carrying it, what the situation is, how easy it is to get to, all that sort of stuff. But certainly there are advantages to having more weapons with you. Comes with the territory. Well, I didn't see what Keisha K said. When I open carry, I constantly get lots of people stopping me to compliment me and talk guns. Yeah, obviously there are people who are just into guns, and there are also, people are going to want to talk to women. Guys are. So anytime you get a legitimate kind of giving them a conversation starter like that, and they feel something they're comfortable talking about guns, they realize that you're into it too. So guys whistle at me, ask me out, and take my picture. That's pretty cool. See, the feminists would get mad about that, but you should only get mad when they stop whistling at you. That's when they really get mad. As long as it's good natured and not people not being completely rude and perverted and stuff like that. I would enjoy the attention. I've always liked positive attention, even if it's not completely from completely desirable people. I get it that with men there's less of an element of danger. If I have some creepy old lady whistling at me, there's really no risk of me being assaulted or something. But if you're open carrying too, you got that shit taken care of too, so you should be feeling pretty safe. I saw a 20-year-old Bass Pro doing it in Vegas, made sure everyone saw it. Yeah, some people are like that. In Florida, right on. Generator that runs a well. Yeah, a well in the generator. I've had a lot of out-of-state lefties call the cops on me for open carrying a few times. Yeah, that's annoying. When the cops show up and see me, they always smile and say, "Have a nice day, man." That's awesome. It's great that the cops know what's up. I've seen plenty of videos and heard of plenty of situations where in areas where open carry is very uncommon, the cops don't even know the laws surrounding it, and have given the guys a lot of crap and put them in potentially dangerous situations by assuming that they're, a criminal. Females, I can live completely without them. Gay and MGTOW all the way, but to each his own. They have food, cordage, knives, and some better ones have water filters. Nobody whistles at me anymore. Yeah, man, me either. Actually, I could occasionally get some gentlemen or something. I'm not gay, but I am MGTOW. Again, to each their own. I'm not. See, the MGTOW thing, to me, people have their own definitions of it, but it's a rule, for the most part. And I'm more about principles, like don't do anything that compromises the principle. There's no reason to specifically make a rule about like, I'm never going to get married or I'm never going to be in a relationship with women or things like that. Like, to me, that's just a rule. There's no reason to have rules like that for most situations, as long as you follow principles that will, maybe that'll be the same as following that rule for a majority of situations, but not for all of them. And that it does make a big difference. I'm not married, and I don't see any particular reason to get married in today's society, but I don't have any moral opposition to it. it just doesn't make any sense for the most part. I don't like getting the state involved in things that is unnecessary. An old lady at Sam's rubbed my forearm. I thought it was funny. Yeah, I've had women grope me and stuff. It happens. One time I was at the piano bar and a bunch of cougars grabbed me. It was almost like Walking Dead, man. I was being pulled into the crowd. I was like, ah! My girlfriend just laughed at me, watched me almost die. I don't like humans, so I avoid them. I'm not sure if there's a cool club for that. If you don't like humans, why would you want to be in a club of other humans who don't like humans? As soon as they perfect sex robots, there will be lots of homeless women. That may be true. That may be very true. Some of those old ladies have no shame. Exactly. I mean, there's not the same societal pressures on women and men. You know, there's different things are viewed as being bad and good. So there's very little social pressure for women to control like their lust, basically. So in situations where they are feeling froggy, a lot of times there's definitely not the same stigma associated with them going after. They just don't like doing it most of the time. Like women don't prefer to be the pursuers in that obvious sense, you know. I guess I'm into bestiality without the sex. Oh, without the sex. Love my pooch as my best buddy. Yeah, I would use some different wording. How about a platonic love with your pet pooch? Let's just put it that way. Central Florida prepper. How are you central, north, central, south? I was north central Florida before I moved out to Nevada, and I was central Florida vertically, but I was on the coast growing up. Weird way to put it, but okay. We have gotten way off topic here. Yeah, I know. Bizarre. Near Orlando. Right on. So very central in pretty much every way. Yeah, way off topic. There's no specific topic here. All we want to do is cover the Killdozer, because Killdozer Day is coming up June 4th. And we wanted to cover the battle box, where we got some trail cam. We got a combat spork. We got a pretty cool knife. Always been digging the battle boxes. And I've got and as always, guys, if you haven't checked out my Rule the Wasteland fishing kit, it's on rulethewastelandstore.com. I've yet to meet a man with more firepower, so dating is difficult. They don't have to have more firepower, right? They can be good in other areas and just use it, as long as you can teach them how to use it. They'll be good to go. But yeah, I can imagine how it could be tough in today's society for someone who, if you're already, particularly women, if you're already more, I don't want to say necessarily masculine, but if you're already into more masculine pursuits, and even if you are some kind of a tomboy, it seems like guys have gotten way less traditionally masculine over the years. So then that disparity is going to be even worse. It's going to be harder to find a guy. You don't want some soy boy. Psst, no way, no how. Let's see, what does it say? I want to buy a sex robot and then avoid it as much as possible, like I do for people now, but with less annoyance. Just to actively ignore it. Can we please understand how far he was pushed, though? The Killdozer, Martin Hiermeyer? Yeah, absolutely. That's why I like this story, is because it has obviously an unfortunate ending. I don't condone or suggest people physically wage war against the police, the government, and certainly not kill themselves. But I like that he directed his anger specifically at the government and the people who specifically were coming after him, and how it was a very planned. He didn't just snap, man. Like, he had a plan. He went through it, and he accomplished what he wanted to do. Fucked him right up. Going to buy more of your shirts and merchandise. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. He didn't kill anyone, I don't think. No, only himself. He killed himself in the end, which is unfortunate. But he did not, as far as I know, he didn't even injure anybody. So it's an interesting story. You guys can Google it. I will be making a video explaining the story in time for Killdozer Day. Being alone isn't bad until you start thinking of being 7 or so and being alone in your rocking chair, can't reach your whiskey or Geritol. It depends. I mean, some people legitimately don't mind being alone, and I don't think it's so easy to mitigate the risks involved with, you know, being in relationships with women, and especially with other people, by just taking some fairly straightforward steps that I don't ever usually recommend, like the whole MGTOW thing or completely swearing off. I think that that's fear-based. And I don't think making decisions based on fear is ever a smart thing to do. The opportunity costs are just too high. But for people who genuinely aren't interested in it, maybe they just have a low sex drive or whatever, and they're not care, then fine. I mean, there's nothing quote unquote wrong with just being alone. But I think for most people, it's not going to be the ideal. It's not going to be the ideal. If you could really have the Thanos glove, snap your fingers, and get exactly what you want out of life, that wouldn't be it. So I think you should go for what you want and go for what. There's so many things that you can enjoy in life out there, and it's not that hard to curate meaningful, positive relationships if you do it consciously. That's the problem. Is that people tend to follow their emotions and their fears and not do things consciously. Beer can hats and sippy straws. What about? I like the dude that stole the plane, did all kinds of aerial. Oh, the plane, then crashed. The dude went out on his own terms. Got to respect that. Yeah. What did they call him? Flight. Oh, there's a name that like Reddit got on him for, like Air Boss or Air King or something like that. What did they call that guy? Do you remember, Palmetto? They had a name for him. Oh, damn, I can't remember. Maybe I'll try to Google it. I got the internet here available at my disposal. 35 years and still going. Congratulations. That's crazy. I'm not married, but I have been with my girlfriend for quite a long time. It kind of creeps me out when I think about it. The guy who stole plane, was it Air King? What the fuck was he called? Sky King? Was that it? Sky King? That's so funny. Sky King. And he was like, apparently they were like, how is he doing so good a job flying this? And he's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna, don't really want to get in trouble, I'll land this thing. I wouldn't mind a nice lady that stays mostly in the other room. We talk as little as possible. I'm sure we could enjoy all conversations we never had. And there are people like that out there. It's gonna be hard to meet them because one of you is gonna have to go out of your way to initiate contact with someone who generally isn't very extroverted, doesn't like engaging with people, but there's nothing wrong with that. And that's actually, I think that'd be meaningful just to know there's someone there that cares about you, even if you're each in your own room reading books. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Sky King. Yep, the Sky King. The internet comes up with such amazing stuff. Like just naming the Killdozer and Sky King. And this, I love the way that like the internet has this like natural kind of effect of like curating all this weird ideas. And then it just comes up to the top. Cream floats to the top. I don't like that all the tech companies are starting to interfere with that natural process, though. But I think we're very close to getting these tech companies kind of treated like utilities, you know, and having kind of government controls, which that's not good. It's not ideal to have the government involved in this stuff, but it is out of hand right now with the way that these tech companies are getting involved in controlling what people see, you know, who succeeds, things like that. And it is the public's forum now. You know, the internet, these internet companies are the public forum. They're not existing on a purely level playing field when it comes to, you know, the markets and things like that, with the way the governments are interacting with them. They basically do have monopolies. Sky King shirts are coming. Yeah, maybe I should do those too. I've got 3 designs for the Killdozer. It's all the same picture. I got 3 slogans. I have Let Freedom Roll, which I really like. I have Get Mad and Get Even, which is what he did. And I have Death Before Dishonor. He was willing to die before letting him get away with the screwing him over. I think that was the name of the plane. Boatface is still my all-time favorite internet name. Corporatocracy. Exactly. I mean, we don't have, people make fun of like, or not make fun, but they say like, oh, capitalism isn't working. And this is not a free market. I mean, like, look at the actual markets. Look at the way the money system is created. Look at the way the government interferes. Look at the way some massive corporations don't even pay taxes. Meanwhile, the hot dog stand on the corner is getting their ass kicked with fees and taxes. Like, this is not a pure capitalist free market system. I'm high profile extrovert, my wife introvert, and it does work. I'm a people person. Yeah, sometimes that's the better way to do it, where you have, you know, opposites attract type thing. Other types, depending on your personality profile, whatever, get along better when they're very similar. People who are extremely extroverted, it's probably going to be hard to be with another extremely extroverted person because they're just going to be competing to talk at each other, you know, and it's just different. And it's also, there's different ways that people show and receive affection too. Like, it's kind of goofy, but like the 5 love languages, whether or not that there are only 5 or that those are real, the idea that people give and receive love in different ways is an important idea to realize, because people will like do something for people, like maybe give gifts, and the person never gives them gifts. And like, this person doesn't like me, and it's like they would never think that's not what they do when they like someone. So Killdozer for sale. The shirts, I wish I had my own Killdozer. I worry about the silencing of any voices, as if people can't express their ideas freely, they will eventually resort to violence. Yeah, anytime anyone's being just silenced, it's a bad thing. Yeah, you got to build your own, caveman. How do I make a Killdozer street legal? I don't know. Probably not have tracks. You'd probably have to have tires on it, first of all. And then after that, it would probably be street legal, depending on the emission controls in your area and the safety protocols that you need. If you get an old vehicle to make as your base for your armored kill machine, you're probably already going to be grandfathered in and not have to follow like seatbelt and all the other little safety regulations. So just get an old like truck and make a monster truck out of it. Yeah, he had multiple gun ports, and he even had he had cameras so that he could see without having to actually look out any windows, and he had compressed air rigged up to blow dust away from the cameras, knowing that they would be like covered in debris and compromise. Extreme planning, extreme craftsmanship, and stone cold focus on revenge. It made it a very, very interesting story. That kid is super funny and pretty smart too. It's a shame. Not sure which one you're talking about. Evil Blonde, you're talking about the Sky King. Is the shirt something you sell on your website? It is, yeah. They are on rulethewastelandstore.com. There's the 3 designs. They're up there now. This one and the 2 other slogans as well. So they are available for sale on rulethewastelandstore.com. Which I'm probably going to switch to rulethewasteland.com is just the store, and then Rule the Wasteland blog or whatever is the website, just so it's easier to find, you know. But who knows? It's not a big deal. Buy a Ferret Scout car, rubber tracks. There was such a thing, not sure now. Yeah, they had really dense rubber for the and something like some tanks have those like rubber shoes almost, I think, so it doesn't just metal grinding up the concrete. Just tweeted a link to the shirt. I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. The manure should be extra wet. What? I think I missed a tweet somewhere. Rubber tracks are a good idea, actually. Yeah, and they do have them on some. Combine them, maximize traffic. Right, that's the idea, is combine them. But I mean, like as far as the URL, I still am going to be running the website, the blog portion of it, and then the store is a Shopify based. So they do need to have their own URLs. So it's which one they go. But I mean, I have a link to the store on the blog portion, so it doesn't really matter. Yep, June 4th is Killdozer Day, the newest national holiday. Celebrate with your Killdozer T-shirt. I had a friend that drew this for me. I love the way it turned out. People who are artistic it just impresses me, because I don't know, just to see like a vision come together. Like I don't know, I'm not an artistic person in that sense. I'm creative, but not in like a visually artistic sense, like just visualizing art, like a drawing or a sculpture or something like that. I can look at something, a picture, a furniture, a statue, be like, okay, change it like this, do this, but just coming up with it, and let alone creating it, I can't do it. And it's always been impressive to me. Do the Killdozer video this week. Want to hear your take. That is my plan. Can't promise anything because I've been very ineffectual with my time management lately. Once I get home from work, work out, do a few random errands, it feels like the day's over, and it's just tough. I'm working out like 4 times a week, and that seems to just take up the whole day. And when you put in stuff like laundry and shopping and cooking and random chores, it's like it's fucking over, man. I said it'd be cool to have a shirt with a farmer backing up to City Hall with a manure spreader and letting it fly. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Yep, yeah. But I haven't been too sloppy with my time, but just finding a way to really fit that stuff in I'm getting better at it, but I got to work at it. It's one of my, because I'll be making a video soon about my all my kind of goals for the year. We're about halfway through the year almost now, which is insane to me, absolutely insane. And I've done really well on some, and just completely shit the bed on others of my goals for the year so far. I still have half a year left, So I'd like to let you guys know what's going on with that sort of stuff. But it's been good, man. I mean, it's been good. How can you tell where the manure ends and the politicians begin? Probably couldn't. As the man says, anyone who loves sausage and respects the law should never see either being made. It's just a gross, gross process, and will completely ruin your faith in the end product in both cases. Waiting on the Sun Oven menu, bro, to hit the vids. Yeah, I will. I definitely want to plan on doing some more of those because to me now, I think this is one of the most important prepping things that most people could buy if you're in a situation or in a location where you have enough sunlight. It's that legit, and because it just takes care of a huge portion of excuse me, like when in a shit the fan scenario, the biggest issue is not having the utilities for most people, not having electricity, not having the gas, and being able to do the same things. So being able to cook, being able to purify water, that's huge. And to be able to do it without storing any fuel of any kind, massive, massive advantage. And I think obviously even in a place like this, it's not always sunny. So you do need to have some sort of backup, even if it's this little propane stove or a wood stove or something like that. But to be able to just be like, bam, that's taken care of for 20 years worth of cooking for $300 or whatever, no brainer. And the size of it, you can cook actual meals in it. The fact that you're cooking in pots and not directly in the oven itself, like with the smaller tubular ones and stuff, makes it a lot easier to clean, a lot more versatile. You can dehydrate food, you can bake, you can cook meat, you can purify, like pasteurize water and milk and whatever else you want to do. Amazing. I love it. I'm totally stoked about Sun Oven. KILLDOZER was destroyed and the pieces were dispersed in many separate scrap areas to prevent souvenir taking, which is unfortunate because I'd love to have a piece of the KILLDOZER. Yeah, Sun Oven did put out a mass email saying they were going to go under unless people started buying. Wonder if that worked. I talked to Prepper Princess, who she had gotten that email. I did not ever get that email, interestingly enough. And she said she managed to single-handedly sell like 25 of them when that happened. And they said that they're, at least for that initial push between her and the other people that sold some, that they did sell what they needed to sell. They're okay for now. Not sure how precarious the company is in general, but hopefully they will keep going because I think that's a fantastic product. I was without water for about 3 weeks. Had to fill up 3-gallon jugs at work for use. Major pain, but it helped me realize what it would take to do without water. Exactly. It's good to go through things like that and realize. Use calcium hypochlorite instead of the pool shot for making bleach. Yeah, correct. That's basically the powdered version of bleach, calcium hypochlorite. I know I've said in my videos sodium hypochlorite, which is bleach, but the powdered form is calcium hypochlorite. So I've misspoke on that in the past. But yeah, powdered calcium hypochlorite is a lot more shelf stable. Liquid bleach will lose its potency after several months, 6 months to a year, and it's a lot weaker. So having some of the calcium hypochlorite around to basically make your own bleach mixture and disinfect water is fantastic. You just want to make sure it's as pure as possible because you don't want like scents or any other nonsense in there. Perfect backup for a sun stove would be a feminist. Just say there are only 2 genders and the feminists will get hot enough to cook on. There will be no feminists in the apocalypse. Trust me. Not for long, anyway. You don't realize the value of water until you have to haul it. Yep. Until you have to carry it. And it's not light. Water is heavy. Didn't know that about Sun Oven. Will buy for the wife. Awesome. I know that if you go into my Sun Oven vids, I have a coupon code. Prepper Princess has a coupon code and a few others. I got a really hilarious video, really short video with Prepper Princess when she was here in town. I'll put that on one of my upcoming videos. Do you like Bernie Sanders? I do not. Filter, boil, filter, boil. Yeah, filtering, what people don't realize is that filtering water and purifying water are 2 distinctly different things. Sometimes the processes can be combined to where the filter will remove particulate matter, dirt, and things like that, and also remove any contaminations of diseases or chemicals. But you can sometimes just do one or the other. If you boil dirty water, it is going to be purified and still have crap in it, like sand, sticks, whatever. So it won't be unsafe from a biological perspective, like you will have killed any bacteria and viruses by boiling it, but you'll still have a belly full of mud or whatever. just be purified mud. So if you have to do only one or the other, purifying it is obviously more important. Same thing with bleach. If you put bleach in dirty water, it will kill all the bacteria and viruses. You'll just have shit in there. So like actual pieces of stuff. So it's important to have some way, even if you have like a few layers of t-shirt, coffee filters, pour the water, that actually will pull out most physical matter that's in the water, but it doesn't get rid of any bacteria, viruses, things like that. So you do boil. That's why the filter boiling, like Caveman mentioned. I would instead do filter, boil, and you don't actually have to boil water. The sun oven will not normally boil water, and it has a specific wax plug that once you get water over, I believe, 180 degrees for enough time, that still kills everything. It doesn't physically need to boil to be hot enough to kill everything. And you just keep it at that temperature for enough time, and the wax will not melt until it's been at that temperature for long enough. So when the wax plug has melted, you know that the water is safe to drink there and has been pasteurized, and then you can reuse the wax plug again because it just dries and then remelts again. Yes, you still have to boil filtered water, and you still have to filter boiled water, but you should filter it first usually. Unless it's a Berkey. Yeah, I mean, like some of the filters will they do filter and purify. The filter itself does filter out viruses, bacteria, but I would always still filter out particulate matter first, because otherwise you will significantly decrease the life of your filter if you're putting really, really dirty water in it. And it's fairly easy to filter just straight up murky, dirty water. You don't need a really fine filtering like strata. You can use t-shirts or cotton clothing. You can use coffee filters. You can even use paper and cardboard. Anything the water is going to flow through and like sand won't is something that you could do as an initial filtering stage to not clog up your filter. Yeah, pour me in a soup. You have mud soup if you don't filter it. Low on venison too, but good on turkey. Venison is delicious. Crunchy soup. Drew a deer tag near Zion National Park. Should get a big one. Been to Zion. It's a cool place. Distillers like doing both, filtering and boiling at the same time. Sort of. I mean, it evaporates the water and then collects it and leaves behind anything that doesn't evaporate. So for natural water sources, this is a great way to do it because it purifies the water and it leaves behind any dirt, it leaves behind viruses, bacteria. Like the water is safe to drink. The only time that distilling might not work is if there's industrial contaminants in the water, like oils or alcohols and solvents, and like maybe if you collected runoff from a parking lot or something like that. Whereas a lot of those things evaporate even before the water does. They have a lower boiling point, so they will also collect in with the water in the final version. But that's a tough situation because most filters don't filter that out either. They'll get ruined by chemicals and industrial contaminants like that. And the ones that do filter it out are very expensive. So I would, in general, just try to avoid sources like that. And if you can't, just try to do some aggressive filtering, maybe through like a cat litter or some sort of clay or sand that might absorb some of those oils, and then distill them. But distill them is a very good, very kind of foolproof way of purifying water. It's just incredibly energy intensive. It takes a lot of energy, whether that's wood. But if you can come up with like a solar distillation, and you live on a coast or something like that, even salt water and other things that are really hard to filter out can be removed from distillation. So it's a great way to do it. It's just very energy intensive. You have to have an ability to generate a lot of energy, whether that's from a wood fire, solar energy, electricity, whatever, it doesn't matter. Probably your only liberal viewer then. No, you're definitely not. I hope that's right because that's all right because I still think you're awesome and I see a lot of prepping. Yeah, prepping is not about ideology. Definitely seems to be more skewed, conservative for prepping. Who knows why that is? Could be the amygdala differences and things like that. Could just be ideology and the way people view other humans and as groups, things like that. But people's ideologies are in general very irrelevant to me unless they try to control the way I live my life. And I'm all for everyone being prepared, for sure. And you're definitely not the only of my viewers who would consider themselves liberal. If you know what swamp water, you don't have to do anything. Lots of tannins and moving water. Yeah, I always recommend filtering or boiling though. It's just safe. Our modern bodies are not used to all that. And even something that's not that serious, if you get puking for a weekend, it's not something you want to deal with in a shift to fan scenario. Go for a 5-mile run and wring out your socks afterwards. Get your filtered water right there. It's a little salty. Yeah, I mean, and you can, especially with distillation, sweat and urine, no big deal. You can definitely distill that. Dehydrated water. Yeah, good idea. Personally, I don't use polycarbonate material to collect rainwater runoff. I try to, avoid plastic in general, but for things like the emergency storage, there's just no other realistic way to do it other than like a giant concrete cistern, and I'm renting a suburban house right now, so it's not feasible. So I do store in well, not polycarbonate, it's HDP, high density polyethylene. And you just add water. Yeah, exactly. Well, this has been going on for a while, guys. It's been easy. Give me lots to talk about. I appreciate you watching. I do have a few errands I need to finish up before the work week starts, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Make sure you check out Rule the Wasteland store and get your .com and get your Killdozer shirts to celebrate June 4th. Check out battlbox so you can get some awesome, cool knives and gear, and I will do some reviews while I'm camping for this. Appreciate it, guys. Fun streaming. Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thank you, exactly. And if you don't mind, hit that like button. And make sure you hit the bell icon if you're already subscribed, because I know they don't show my videos to a lot of people. But thanks again for watching, guys. Talk to you later. We'll be making more videos soon. Yeah, it's first solo one in a while. See you later, guys.